What Ryan Poles was about to ask the Cleveland Browns front office was so audacious, so bold, that it reveals everything you need to know about where this organization is heading and how serious we are about winning right now. What I'm about to share with you isn't just about a player acquisition. It's about a mindset shift, a declaration that the Chicago Bears are no longer content with mediocrity, and a glimpse into the aggressive philosophy that's driving every decision being made in our war room. Welcome back to the Bears News Fan Report, your exclusive destination for the most accurate, most detailed, and most insightful coverage of our beloved Chicago Bears. I'm bringing you breaking news that dropped in the last 24 hours. News that involves a massive swing for the fences that didn't quite connect but tells us everything about Ryan Poles' ambition and this franchise's championship timeline. We're talking about trade deadline moves. We're talking about elite defensive talent. And we're talking about a front office that's willing to make the call that most general managers wouldn't even dare to dial. Stay with me through every detail, because what happened behind the scenes leading up to our actual acquisition is a story that will give you goosebumps and make you realize just how committed this organization is to building something special. Here at the Bears News Fan Report, we don't just regurgitate press releases, and we don't settle for surface-level analysis. We dig deeper, we provide context, and we give you the insider perspective that helps you understand the strategic chess game happening at the highest levels of this franchise. So let me take you inside the trade deadline war room and reveal what was really happening as Ryan Poles worked the phones trying to upgrade our defense. The 2025 trade deadline was approaching fast, and our general manager knew exactly what this team needed most: pass rush. We've been struggling to generate consistent pressure on opposing quarterbacks all season long. And while Montez Sweat has been phenomenal since we acquired him, we needed more firepower on the edge. The situation became critical when Dale Odeyingbo, our free agent signing who we brought in with high expectations, suffered a devastating season-ending Achilles tear that left a gaping hole in our defensive line rotation. Suddenly, the need for an edge rusher went from important to absolutely urgent. Ryan Poles picked up the phone and called the Cleveland Browns. The initial conversation was about available pieces, players who might be on the market, guys who could help us immediately. The Browns had some interesting options, and those discussions would eventually lead to us acquiring defensive end Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, a move I'll break down in detail in just a moment. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Here's where Ryan Poles showed the kind of fearless ambition that championship organizations are built on. During that conversation with Cleveland, Poles asked a question that most general managers wouldn't even bother asking. He inquired about the availability of their franchise cornerstone, their defensive centerpiece, arguably one of the three best defensive players in the entire National Football League. Ryan Poles asked the Cleveland Browns if Myles Garrett was available. Let that sink in for a second. Our general manager, in the middle of trade deadline negotiations, had the audacity to ask about a player who has a $160 million contract, who is a perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate, who single-handedly wrecks offensive game plans every single Sunday. Now, the answer was predictably and immediately no. Cleveland wasn't trading Myles Garrett. They were never going to trade Myles Garrett. And Garrett himself has a no-trade clause in his contract that gives him complete control over any potential move. The Browns are built around him. He's the heart and soul of their defense. And parting with him would have been organizational malpractice. But here's why this matters so much, and why I'm so fired up about this revelation. The fact that Ryan Poles even made that call tells you everything about where this franchise is mentally right now. We're not nibbling around the edges. We're not looking for cheap depth pieces. We're not content with incremental improvements. We're swinging for the fences. We're asking about elite talent. We're operating like a team that believes we're one or two pieces away from being legitimate contenders. That's the mindset of a general manager who sees a championship window opening and wants to maximize it immediately. Think about what adding Myles Garrett would have meant for this defense. We're talking about a player who has recorded double-digit sacks in 6 of his 7 FL seasons. A player who commands double teams on every single snap. A player who would have instantly transformed our entire defensive front. Pairing him with Montez Sweat would have given us arguably the most fearsome edge rushing duo in the entire league. Offensive coordinators would have had nightmares trying to scheme against that combination. But even though we didn't land Garrett, even though that particular swing didn't connect, Ryan Poles didn't walk away empty-handed. He pivoted, he adjusted, and he still managed to add a talented edge rusher who can contribute immediately. The Bears successfully traded for Joe Tryon-Shoyinka from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, bringing in a former third-round pick who has shown flashes of real ability during his time in the league. Tryon-Shoyinka appeared in 52 games over 4 seasons with Tampa Bay, recording 11.5 sacks and demonstrating the kind of explosive first step and bend around the edge that translates to NFL success. He's 25 years old. He's entering his prime. And he's joining a defensive system under Matt Eberflus that has a proven track record of maximizing pass rush. This isn't just a depth move. This is adding a legitimate rotational piece who can push for significant playing time and potentially develop into a consistent contributor. The tape on Tryon-Shoyinka shows a player with outstanding athletic traits. He ran a 4.50 40-yard dash at his pro day. He has long arms that allow him to keep offensive tackles at bay, and he has the flexibility to dip and bend around the edge. His best football might still be ahead of him, especially now that he's joining a defense that will put him in position to succeed. Matt Eberflus has consistently gotten the most out of his edge rushers throughout his coaching career, and there's every reason to believe he can unlock whatever untapped potential Tryon-Shoyinka possesses. Now, let's talk about what this means for our defense going forward. Even without landing Myles Garrett, we've addressed a critical need. We've added youth, we've added athleticism, and we've added competition to a position group that desperately needed it. Montez Sweat is our established star, but now we have Tryon-Shoyinka pushing for snaps. We have Austin Booker developing as a rookie, and we have Gervin Dexter emerging as an interior force. This is how you build a defense in the modern NFL. You don't rely on one superstar to carry the load. You create depth, you develop young talent, and you put pressure on every player to earn their playing time through performance. The cost of acquiring Tryon-Shoyinka was reasonable, likely a mid to late round draft pick that allows us to add an immediate contributor without sacrificing premium asset. That's smart business. That's calculated risk-taking. And that's exactly the kind of move that Ryan Poles has built his reputation on. He's not mortgaging the future. He's not giving up multiple first-round picks for a rental player. He's making strategic additions that improve the roster without compromising our long-term flexibility. And here's what excites me most about all of this. The fact that we asked about Myles Garrett, even knowing the answer would be no, signals that Ryan Poles is operating with a win-now mentality. We're not in rebuilding mode anymore. We're not asking for patience while we develop young players. We're actively trying to add elite talent that can help us compete for championships immediately. That's the message being sent to Caleb Williams, to our veteran leaders, and to the entire locker room. Management believes in this group. They're investing in this group, and they're willing to be aggressive to put the best possible roster on the field. Our pass rush has been inconsistent this season, ranking in the middle of the pack in terms of sacks and quarterback pressures. Adding Tryon-Shoyinka gives us another weapon to deploy, another chess piece that Matt Eberflus can move around to create favorable matchups. He can play on either edge, he can kick inside on passing downs, and he brings the kind of versatility that modern defenses require. The more options we have, the harder it is for opposing offensive coordinators to game plan against us. And that's exactly what we need as we push toward the playoffs. So here's my analysis of everything that's transpired. Ryan Poles swung for the fences by asking about Myles Garrett, showing the kind of ambition that defines championship organizations. When that didn't work out, he didn't panic. He didn't settle. He found another solution by acquiring Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. That's good general management. That's staying aggressive while remaining smart. And that's exactly what we need from our front office. The Bears are building something special. And moves like this prove that we're not content with just being competitive. We want to be elite. Now I want to hear from you, the most passionate fan base in the NFL. How do you feel about Ryan Poles asking about Myles Garrett, even though it was a long shot? Does it excite you that our front office is thinking that big? Or do you think we should focus on more realistic targets? And what are your expectations for Joe Tryon-Shoyinka now that he's wearing the navy and orange? Can he develop into a consistent pass rusher in our system? Drop your thoughts in the Comments below, because this community is built on intelligent football discussion, and I genuinely want to know what you're thinking. And listen, if you want to stay on top of every move, every rumor, and every strategic decision that impacts our beloved Chicago Bears, you need to subscribe to this channel right now and turn on notifications. The Bears News Fan Report is your trusted source for breaking news, detailed analysis, and insider information that you won't find anywhere else. We're here every single day bringing you the content that matters, the analysis that makes sense, and the passion that matches your own. Bear down, and let's go get this championship together.